Linwood Barclay's newest novel starts off with a bang. A student shows up at a school with a bomb strapped to his chest and a hit list of staff members. When one teacher springs into action, he is hailed as a hero. But then, as they tend to do in Barclay's books, things go off the rails. I Will Ruin You is the ominous title. And Linwood is here with us in studios. Nice to have you back again.
It's always a pleasure. Nice to be here.
Okay, we said this one starts off with a bang, literally.
With a bang, yes.
Yeah, there's an explosion at the school, and then a former student comes back. He's got this bomb strapped to him. The bomb detonates. Set this one up for us.
Yeah. So this teacher, his name is Richard, and this kid's going to come in. He's got explosives, and he manages to talk him out of not coming into school. But then there's an accident, and this thing goes off anyway. But Richard becomes hailed as something of a hero. At least he kept things from getting worse. Mm-hmm. But now this sort of notoriety has brought him into the public eye, and suddenly he hears from someone who's alleging that some misdeed in the past, and he's now the victim of a blackmailer. It's sort of like no good deed goes unpunished. And that's sort of what sets off a rather, a series of sort of catastrophic events that leads us into a bunch of drug dealers and so forth and so on. And even as a sort of subplot in this book, it even comes up the whole topic of book banning. Mm-hmm. Because Richard is an English teacher and he's been teaching Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and some of the parents are a bit antsy about this, and so we even have some little side issues on that as well.
So you and I have talked over the years about where your inspiration for the different stories comes from, and you're constantly lifting ideas, writing them down. Where did this one originate?
Sometimes people say, where does the inspiration come from? And I say, contracts. Because I'm obliged to produce a book by a certain time. But in this one, there were a couple of things. I mean, part of it was the book banning thing, although that was more of a subplot. Another aspect of it was, in a very vague sort of sense, was what if you had there was a death, there was a murder, and you had a married couple, both of whom had perhaps a motive that would be nice to see this person disappear, and each of them wonders if the other one did it.
Ooh.
And so that was sort of, I think, what got me started thinking about this book. And then, as often happens, you have this sort of little germ of an idea, and then it starts fanning off in all these different directions. By the time it's written, that part's kind of over here now.
Right.
But that's okay.
That's where it started out.
As long as you get there.
In the acknowledgement section, you give a shout out to teachers, and you call them, quote, historically underappreciated, underpaid, and far too often under attack.
Yes.
Do you have a newfound respect for teachers, or where does that embedded respect come from?
Well, it's always, my wife, Neetha, was, for years a teacher and taught all sorts of things. Before she decided to retire early, was a kindergarten teacher. And I saw firsthand the kind of work that teachers have to do and the kind of pressure that they're under, the kind of scrutiny that they're under, and all these expectations coming from different directions. And I think, as bad as it is like anywhere, like here, I think it's even worse south of the border, where they're saying, well, sure, you're under a lot of pressure as a teacher, but by the way, we're now also going to give you a gun.
Yes.
And you can defend yourself in the class if anybody comes in.
Right.
And they're under attack for what they teach, and everybody's watching their every move. And I think it's, in many ways, a really thankless profession. And so that's why I wanted to, give them a shout out in the book.
I'm glad that you did. Without giving too much away, it is a praying mantis that ends up sort of saving the day. So I don't want to get into a lot of details, just a bit of a tease, but just enough to say that one character is distracted by a bug. Where did that nugget come from?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's probably, maybe at some point, going back years and years, him having to kill the spiders in my daughter's bedroom. It could have been that. But
you're not bug squeamish at all, are you?
I don't particularly like them.
Okay.
No, so maybe it was a bit from myself too. But sometimes you want to zero in on somebody's idiosyncrasies, regardless of what it might be, and think, is there a way to have fun with this, and to turn it into something, or turn it into some sort of a payoff in the novel? And that was the one this time. I
can tell that you're delighted by that because I can see the smile on your face. The book is called I Will Ruin You. Thanks for joining us today.
Always great to be here. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.